Right, pre-ride checks. I think it is healthy to get a reminder every now and again that pre-ride checks are important. A lot of us at some stage in our lives do these checks regularly, but after a while you start to realise that nothing really changes. You never really find anything of concern, and that can lead you into a false sense of security, because just because you haven't found anything so far, it doesn't mean that there isn't a mishap or emergency just around the corner. Now, with just about every bike I've ever owned, in the owner's manual there has always been a section on pre-ride checks, and I don't think they vary much from manufacturer to manufacturer. I'm going to try not to bore you by allowing this video to run on. I'll try and keep it short and sweet, but I thought I would just go through the general checks that I do prior to riding my bike. Now, some of these checks I will only do weekly, but it is good practice to get into the habit of doing these checks regularly. First of all, the things I think you must check prior to every ride are those that relate to safety. That's your tyres, your brakes and your lights. First of all, your tyres. It's really easy to pick up foreign objects in your tyres without realising it. Most of the time it's just bits of grit, that kind of thing from the road, but screws, nails and other dangerous road debris, as we all know, do present the danger of a sudden tyre failure, and on a motorbike that can have catastrophic consequences. So the first thing I always do is just spin both tyres around and check the tread area to make sure that there's nothing stuck in there that is going to present a danger. Check all your tread, not just the bits that you can see, because a pound to a penny, if there's a nail or a screw stuck in your tyre, it'll either be at the bottom and your bike's resting on it, or it'll be underneath one of your fenders somewhere. Once you've done that and you're happy that everything's okay, check your tyre walls. Check for any bulges or cracking, and also make sure that your tyre bead is seated evenly all around the rim on both sides. And when you've done that, check your tyre pressures. It's a fact of life that tyres do naturally deflate, but you also have to take atmospheric conditions into consideration. For example, if you last checked and inflated your tyres on a really hot day and then come to ride your bike on a cooler day, your tyres could be underinflated, and underinflated tyres can either lead to problems with the handling of the bike or accelerated wear of your tyres. What type of pressure gauge you use is entirely up to you, but I always carry one of the little pen types because they're just convenient to carry around wherever you are. Once you're happy that your tyres are okay and they're in tip-top condition, turn your attention to your brakes. Make sure that your lever and your foot pedal operate smoothly, that there's no sponginess, and then just quickly go around and check your brake lines for any bulges or any signs of leaking fluid. And finally, check your reservoirs to make sure that they're up to the required level and that there hasn't been any sudden colour change in the fluid that indicates water might have got in or there's some other contaminant in there. And just check that your brakes are engaging and releasing properly and that they're not binding. It is also a good idea just to check your engine oil level at this stage, although unless there's an engine problem that you are aware of, you can probably get away with that weekly. Then switch your ignition on and check that all your lights are operating correctly. Check your brake lights with both your foot brake and your hand brake. Check that your indicators are functioning properly front and back. And then check your headlamp, going through both your positioning lamp, your dip beam and your main beam. And before you switch your ignition off, just check that your horn's working properly. Another thing that I always like to do before I ride the bike is just check that the seat's fastened down securely. I know this might sound a little bit silly, but if you've had it off for any reason, whether it be for cleaning or checking your battery or whatever, these seats can be a little bit tricky to put on. Just make sure that the lock's engaged properly and the seat is engaged into all the hooks on the frame, because you don't really want your seat coming adrift while you're out on a ride. Finally, before you set off, make sure that you've got sufficient fuel for your journey, either by means of your fuel gauge or by physically removing your fuel cap and checking inside your tank. If you know that you are going to have to fill up while you're out, make sure that you've got the means to pay for some fuel with you. I speak from personal experience here of pulling into a petrol station on fumes only to realise I'd left my wallet at home. Then finally, before you set off on your journey, a quick cursory glance around your bike for anything that's obvious. Stuff like loose silencers, loose chain guard, that kind of thing. So that for me represents my pre-ride checks. Now, if you don't check your oil prior to each ride, you should at least be checking it weekly. And also on a weekly basis, you should be checking your coolant level, and also check that all your coolant hoses are in good order and firmly attached. Check your chain to make sure that it's well lubed and that it's in good condition and that it's tensioned correctly. Weekly, you should also check your fork stanchions and your shock absorbers for any evidence that seals may be faulty and that you're losing fluid. And last but not least, your clutch. Check it once a week to make sure you've got a smooth clutch operation at the lever and that it doesn't need adjusting. Right, well that's about it. That's how I go about making sure that my bike is roadworthy. You might have different ideas. Now, as I said at the beginning, this video was intended as a gentle reminder rather than trying to teach my grandmother to suck eggs. Take from it what you want, but at the end of the day, if in doubt, stick with what it says in your owner's handbook. Now, this Friday, I'm hoping to stock up that Burley brand tool roll that I showed you a few weeks ago. Although I do have to admit I am panicking a little bit at the moment because although I ordered them in plenty of time, I haven't received them all yet, so fingers crossed on that one. Once again, thanks very much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you've found it useful. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. So until Friday, please ride safely and I'll see you soon.